80% of your fireplace heat is simply disappearing up the chimney, but Grandpa knew a trick to capture it all and make the warmth last for 12, 18, or even 24 hours. Forget expensive smart technology. We're uncovering 15 forgotten secrets that let you heat your home, your body, and your wallet without ever having to rely on the power grid. The fireplace that never quits, rediscovering the masonry heater. Before smart thermostats and central forced air, there was the fireplace. But even the best fireplace was inherently wasteful, letting 80% of the heat escape up the chimney. Grandpa, however, knew a better way to capture the raw energy of fire, turning a simple hearth into a lifelong radiator. This was the masonry heater. Unlike traditional setups that only offer warmth while the wood is actively burning, a masonry heater is built with a massive core of dense brick or stone. This thick thermal mass acts like an immense heat sponge. To maximize retention, the hot gases and smoke are forced to travel through a smoke path designed to milk every degree of warmth from the fire before they ever reach the chimney. This complex path ensures the fire's energy is fully absorbed into the mass. The beauty of this system lies in its operation. You burn a short, intense fire for only 1 or 2 hours, achieving a high-temperature clean burn. Then, you shut the damper. The fire is out, but the warmth is just beginning. The stored heat then radiates slowly and steadily from the dense stone walls, maintaining a comfortable, gentle temperature throughout the home for 12, 18, or even 24 hours. You don't need electricity or constant tending, just a little know-how and respect for simple physics. It is an enduring, forgotten piece of architectural wisdom that delivers comfortable, steady warmth without the endless cycle of refueling. But if you don't have a massive stone structure, the ancient secrets of heating often rely on a much simpler resource, the free power of the sun itself. Sun-catching secrets. The free power of passive solar heat. Why pay to heat the air outside when your home could be heating itself for free? Long before solar panels were mounted on roofs, smart design turned the entire house into a massive, passive battery. Passive solar heating is based on simple, forgotten wisdom. Capture and store the sun's energy using materials you already have. This is done by positioning large windows on the south side of the home, where they can absorb the maximum sunlight throughout the day. The heat then streams indoors and is absorbed by thermal mass. Heavy, heat-retaining materials like stone, brick, or thick tile floors. These elements soak up the sun's warmth, preventing the home from overheating during the day and becoming a silent furnace at night. As the sun sets and the temperature drops, those same dense materials slowly begin to radiate the stored warmth back into the living space. It's an elegant, natural process that requires absolutely no electricity or fuel. To maximize the effect, families simply kept interior doors open to let the heat circulate naturally, and then closed thick, heavy curtains at night to seal the warmth inside. Even painting walls a darker, heat-absorbing color was part of the plan. This method proves that sometimes the most sophisticated heating system is the one that simply works with nature, not against it. That's the passive approach. But what if you wanted to go beyond just letting the sun in and actively trap and pull its heat into your living room? The backyard greenhouse effect. Making a simple solar heat absorber. Grandpa had a simple saying, if you can trap heat, you can stay warm. This quick trick turned scrap materials into a wall-mounted solar concentrator, capable of actively pulling warmth into the house, even on a cold, bright winter day. This forgotten feature is a simple solar heat absorber, and it relies on 2 basic principles, color and confinement. To make one, you start with a flat metal sheet, like aluminum or steel, and paint it matte black. Black is the ultimate heat magnet, absorbing nearly all incoming sunlight. This sheet is mounted inside a simple wooden frame and then covered with a sheet of clear glass or rigid plastic. The glass traps the air inside, creating a powerful greenhouse effect. As the sun bombards the black metal, the air in the sealed space heats up dramatically. Vents placed at the bottom allow cool air from the room to be pulled into the frame, while vents at the top allow the superheated air to rise and flow directly into the home. This creates a steady, natural convection current. It requires zero electricity, turning the coldest afternoon into a free heating opportunity. It is a brilliant, inexpensive method that proves the sun's energy can be channeled and concentrated with nothing more than old-fashioned ingenuity. And yet, sometimes even the smallest, lowest-tech solutions can generate localized comfort when you need it most. Flicker and warmth. The unexpected power of the clay pot heater. It sounds impossible, turning a few tiny tea lights into a radiator. Yet, when the power was out, or the heat needed a gentle supplement, people turned to a simple trick whose secret lies in a material found in every garden shed: terracotta. The clay pot heater relies on the unique ability of unglazed terracotta to absorb heat and radiate it slowly. To construct this miniature furnace, a few small candles, often inexpensive tea lights, are placed on a fireproof base. A small, unglazed clay pot is then inverted over the candles, resting on bricks or an elevated surface to allow oxygen to feed the flames. Crucially, a slightly larger clay pot is placed over the first one, creating a small air gap between the two. This is a brilliantly safe, low-flame setup that operates purely on the natural physics of thermal mass. As the candles burn, the heat quickly soaks into the clay. Unlike metal or glass, terracotta has a high thermal mass, meaning it holds on to that warmth and releases it gradually. The double pot system maximizes this effect, allowing the inner pot to superheat the air before the warmth is dispersed by the outer pot. While it won't heat an entire home, it creates a wonderfully steady, localized warmth, perfect for a chilly night spent reading or working in a small space. This old-fashioned method proves that simple geometry and common materials can offer surprising comfort when high-tech solutions fail. Local warmth is one thing, but keeping the heat from escaping the largest holes in your home, the windows, requires a different kind of simple defense. The sunset seal. How thermal curtains locked the heat inside. Windows are the home's biggest heat thief, silently sucking warm, expensive air out into the night. Before specialized thermal glass or complicated window treatments, families relied on a simple, heavy layer of fabric to create an impenetrable seal at sunset. This was the power of the thermal curtain. Its secret lies in its composition and its placement. To be truly effective, the fabric needed to be thick, multi-layered, and often backed with a thermal lining designed to reflect heat back into the room. But the real ingenuity was in the hanging. These curtains were hung as close to the glass as possible to minimize drafts, and crucially, they were long enough to extend past the sides and touch the floor. This created a total seal, trapping a layer of still air between the glass and the fabric, which acts as a powerful insulator. During the day, the curtains on south-facing windows were thrown open to let the sun's free warmth stream in. But the moment the sun disappeared below the horizon, the ritual began: the sunset seal. Drawing those heavy light-blocking curtains was a nightly act of energy conservation. This simple adjustment could make a huge difference, proving that the most effective way to stay warm is often not to generate more heat, but simply to lock in what you already have. And for those who couldn't afford specialized curtains, another everyday item served as a shockingly effective insulator. The air pocket trick. Low-cost window insulation with bubble wrap. It's the stuff we pop for fun, but Grandpa saw something else entirely. A cheap, effective, and nearly free way to turn a drafty window into an insulating barrier. The air pockets used to cushion fragile mail were repurposed as a brilliant, temporary insulation material. The core principle behind this hack is simple physics. Trapped air is an excellent insulator. The thousands of tiny bubbles in the plastic sheet are essentially small, sealed pockets of air that significantly slow the transfer of heat, keeping warm air inside and cold air out. To apply it, the process couldn't be easier. You cut the bubble wrap to fit the window pane, spray a fine mist of water onto the glass, and then press the bubble side of the plastic against the wet surface. The water acts as a temporary adhesive, holding the material firmly in place without the need for messy tape or glue. Once secured, the insulation is immediate. It dramatically reduces heat loss while still allowing diffuse sunlight to filter into the room. It's an ideal solution for a home or apartment where permanent window replacement isn't an option. This is a low-cost winter hack that lasts an entire season, proving that sometimes the most effective insulating material is the one you almost throw away. Windows fixed, but what about the constant chill sneaking in underneath the doors? Blocking the chill creep, the essential door draft stopper. A drafty door can make a perfectly warm room feel freezing, like a tiny invisible hole sucking the heat out from under the sill. Even with the best heat source running, that chill creep along the floor can negate all your efforts. The simplest fix is often the most effective: the door draft stopper. Before complex weather stripping, families relied on weighted fabric tubes to physically block the chilly air. The design is simple ingenuity. A piece of durable fabric, cut to the width of the door, is sewn into a tube and filled with heavy material like dry rice, sand, or even rolled up towels. Once sealed, this weighted creation is placed snugly against the bottom crack of the door. The effectiveness lies in the fact that it forms a tight, immediate seal against the floor, instantly preventing cold air from migrating inward and stopping warm air from escaping. This method requires zero energy, offers instant results, and is completely reusable. If you're not a fan of sewing, a heavy, tightly rolled blanket placed along the door bottom works just as well. It's a small, deliberate act of defense that dramatically improves the comfort of a room without ever needing to crank up the thermostat. Doors and windows covered, but the greatest loss of comfort often comes from the floor itself. From bare floor to cozy base, rugs as floor insulation. Hardwood and tile floors look beautiful, but in winter, they can feel like a direct, cold link to the earth below. When warmth is precious, an uninsulated floor can steal heat just as surely as a drafty window. Grandpa knew how to use texture to fight the chill, with a strategic layer of fabric. The solution is deceptively simple: thick rugs and carpets. These aren't just for decoration, they are fundamental insulators. A large high-pile area rug, especially one made of natural fibers like wool, creates a crucial thermal barrier. It works by trapping a layer of air between the floor and the rug itself, significantly slowing down the process of heat conduction. This keeps the warmth where you want it, inside the room, and prevents it from escaping through the cold floorboards. For an extra layer of defense, a simple rug pad placed underneath is a game changer. These pads, often made of felt or rubberized material, boost the insulation dramatically. This method proves that by making your home comfortable underfoot, you are simultaneously making it far more energy efficient. It's a trick that adds immediate comfort and prevents your expensive heat from simply sinking away. Now that we've contained the warmth, let's learn how to maximize the output of every device we use. Bouncing back the warmth, the genius of reflective foil. Behind radiators push out warmth, but where does a lot of that heat go? Straight into the wall behind it, where it is often absorbed and lost to the exterior. Before modern insulation became standard, a simple reflective surface ensured every precious unit of heat energy stayed right where it belonged, warming the room. The ingenious fix was reflective foil. This hack relies on the principle of thermal radiation. Heat radiates outward in waves, and when those waves hit a matte surface like drywall, they are absorbed. But when those waves hit a shiny, reflective surface, they bounce back into the room. To implement this, Grandpa would cut a sheet of aluminum foil, or special reflective insulation, slightly larger than the radiator, and secure it directly to the wall behind the unit. The reflective barrier instantly minimizes heat loss, ensuring the radiant energy is directed outward into the living space, not wasted warming the structure. This simple, no-cost adjustment dramatically improves the efficiency of an old heating system. Rooms heat up faster and stay warmer longer, proving that sometimes the best way to generate more heat is simply to stop wasting the heat you already have. Maximizing fire and metal is a modern trick, but the ancients knew the best heat retention secret of all: the slow, steady power locked inside certain dense stones. The stone that stays hot. Harnessing the power of soapstone heaters. The fire may be out, but the heat lingers. For centuries, people relied on a special, dense stone to absorb the fiery energy and release it slowly for hours after the flames died down. This material was soapstone, and it represented one of the purest forms of non-electric, long-lasting radiant heat. Soapstone, a naturally dense metamorphic rock, has an incredibly high heat retention capacity, far superior to most metals or regular bricks. It acts as a passive heat battery. To use it effectively, a soapstone slab or block would be placed near a wood stove, inside a fireplace, or even heated in a conventional oven for about an hour. It silently soaks up the heat energy like a sponge soaking up water. Once thoroughly warmed, the stone would be carefully moved and placed in a strategic location, often wrapped in a thick cloth and nestled at the foot of a bed, or placed near a seating area. The stone then begins its slow, steady work, radiating a gentle, consistent warmth for an extended period. This method provided localized comfort long after the fuel source was gone. It is a brilliant trick that has stood the test of time, proving that in the fight against the cold, slow, consistent thermal mass always wins. But stone isn't the only material that can trap heat. Sometimes the simplest natural fibers offer the best insulation. Passive warmth. Insulating with the ancient hay box principle. Before the slow cooker, there was the hay box, used to keep food cooking or hot for hours without a single flame. That same ingenious principle, using thick natural insulation, can be turned on its head to keep a home warm by protecting existing heat from the cold. The core idea relies on natural fibers like straw, wool, or hay, which are surprisingly excellent insulators. These materials trap countless tiny air pockets that dramatically reduce heat transfer. To create a modern version of this passive heat defense, you don't need an actual box of hay, but simply need to embrace the layered approach. If you have a primary heat source, like a wood stove or a safe preheated thermal mass, the job is to wrap it. By lining a space or covering a heated object with thick layers of blankets, wool, or natural fibers, you essentially create a sophisticated insulation envelope. You lock the heat in, forcing it to dissipate much more slowly. This concept is particularly useful for warming a confined area, like a bed or a small sleeping alcove. It is an ancient and clever reminder that keeping the warmth you already possess is often far more efficient than constantly generating new heat. Speaking of trapping heat, the ultimate structural hack turns your entire south-facing wall into a solar-powered thermal battery. The house as a battery, building a solar charging Trombe wall. Imagine your south wall breathing in the sun all day, holding the warmth, and then sighing it out into your home all night. This clever electricity-free system turns one side of your house into a giant thermal accumulator, the Trombe wall. The concept is simple, yet powerful. You start with a thick, high-density wall made of dark-colored concrete, brick, or stone, built on the sun-facing side of the house. A sheet of glass or polycarbonate is then mounted a few inches in front of this wall, creating a sealed airspace. This enclosure traps the solar energy, much like a greenhouse. As the sun shines, the dark wall rapidly absorbs the heat, storing it deep within its mass. Because heat takes time to travel through the thick material, the wall delays the warmth's entry into the home. During the day, vents at the top and bottom allow the superheated air in the gap to flow into the house. But the real genius happens after dark. As the outside temperature plummets, the wall slowly begins to radiate its stored heat inward, maintaining a comfortable temperature long after the sun has set. It is a stunning, elegant piece of passive architecture that proves a home can truly function as its own heat battery for continuous, fuel-free comfort. But not all warmth has to come from the sun or fire. Sometimes the smallest, messiest processes of nature generate immense thermal power. Nature's furnace. Harnessing heat from a simple compost pile. Who knew that the simple act of decay could produce enough heat to warm a greenhouse through the coldest months? Long before modern boilers, people discovered that the breakdown of organic matter was an entirely natural, ongoing furnace. This is the secret of the heat-producing compost pile. The warmth comes from microbial activity. As bacteria and fungi feast on materials like leaves, straw, wood chips, and manure, they generate thermal energy as a byproduct. To harness this, you need a large, dedicated compost pile, at least 3 feet high and wide, built for maximum decomposition. The interior of a well-maintained pile can easily reach temperatures between 140 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This intense natural heat can be cleverly captured. Farmers and old-school homesteaders would run water pipes through the middle of the pile, allowing them to draw off warm water for washing or heating nearby structures. Others simply positioned the pile near a barn or a small shed so that the radiant warmth helped to take the chill off. Turning the pile occasionally ensures the process remains active and hot. It is a brilliant, zero-cost, eco-friendly method that proves nature itself provides a continuous, powerful source of energy. Now, let's look at the most comforting, localized trick for personal warmth. A hot water companion. The age-old comfort of the hot water bottle. Before heated mattresses or electric blankets, there was the simple, reliable hot water bottle. It is an elegant, non-electric trick that proves water is one of the best conductors for retaining and slowly releasing warmth over time. The simplicity is its genius. To use one effectively, you fill a rubber or silicone bottle with very hot water, leaving a small air gap at the top before sealing the cap tightly. Water retains heat exceptionally well, holding thermal energy far longer than air or fabric. The trick is to never place the bottle in direct contact with the skin. It must always be wrapped in a soft towel or cover to prevent burns and prolong the release of heat. This personal heat source was not primarily meant to warm the room, but to warm the person. The most common ritual was placing the bottle deep into the bed, often at the foot, about 30 minutes before sleeping. It would pre-warm the cold sheets, creating a pocket of luxurious, snug warmth for hours. Some even tucked a bottle under their jacket for portable heat on cold chores. It is a time-tested, reusable, and intensely localized method that shows that sometimes the best way to stay warm is to focus the heat directly on the body. And finally, the ultimate trick for surviving cold, the simplest, coziest method that requires nothing but what you already have. The cozy confinement, creating a heat, trapping indoor microclimate, a blanket. Fort isn't just for kids. It is an ancient architectural hack to survive the winter. When the power fails or fuel runs low, Grandpa knew the secret wasn't generating more heat, but simply creating a microclimate of warmth indoors. The fundamental problem in winter is heating a large, cold volume of air. The solution is to dramatically reduce the space you need to keep warm. To create this intentional confinement, families would drape blankets, sheets, or heavy fabric over tables, chairs, or simple wood frames, ensuring the space was enclosed yet breathable. Thick rugs and pillows were piled inside to insulate the floor, which often stole the heat. This setup works because the smaller, enclosed volume traps body heat much more efficiently than a large room. Every bit of warmth, whether from breathing, a candle-powered clay pot heater, or a hot water bottle, is concentrated and contained. The difference between the temperature inside the fort and the air just outside can be several degrees. This simple, resourceful trick has been used in cold climates for centuries, proving that minimizing the area you heat is one of the most effective, zero-energy ways to achieve comfort. It is a humble, cozy testament to the power of insulation and clever confinement. After exploring 15 tricks, from the massive masonry heater to the simple blanket fort, the ultimate truth remains. The best way to keep a family warm without the grid is not through expensive technology, but through the ingenious zero-cost wisdom passed down through generations. If you value the power of old-school ingenuity over modern convenience, hit the like button and subscribe to join our deep dive into forgotten wisdom every week. Which of these 15 hacks are you bringing back this winter?